Now to our next story. Thousands of mourners defy a curfew in Indian-controlled Kashmir to bury a teenage boy who was killed by Indian troops. The mourners held a funeral for 18-year-old Farhat Ahmad Dar, who died on Friday. They chanted slogans against India. Thousands of armed police and paramilitary soldiers patrolled the area but did not stop the procession. The teenager was killed and 2 others wounded when government forces fired at anti-India protesters after Friday prayers. Rallies against Indian rule are common in the Muslim-majority region. India's crackdown on protests over the past 2 decades left thousands of Kashmiris dead. Let's get more now from Chana Bhatt, our correspondent with us live from New Delhi. Chana, what else can you tell us about the conditions under which this 18-year-old boy was shot dead and whether the authorities have been responding to all this criticism that it's evoked?
Homa, first of all, let me tell you that you said yourself that these rallies have been common and these protests have been common in Kashmir. For the last so many years, we have seen people protesting, usually after Friday prayers, demanding their rights, demanding freedom from Indian rule. Similarly, the same situation happened yesterday and people took to streets and police used indiscriminate force, which is live ammunition, on the civilians, and in this mayhem, one of the civilians was killed, and this has usually been happening. Let me remind the viewers that in 2008 and in 2010, similar situations have happened in Kashmir, and more than 200 civilians were killed in street protests. So this is usual, and government forces haven't been responding really well. They haven't actually helped people they have never been answerable to the government, to the people. I will say here that, of course, a magisterial probe has been ordered, but what happened to all those probes that have been ordered in the cases of hundreds and thousands of civilians that have died over the past 2 decades? So people in Kashmir now are of the opinion that these magisterial probes or investigations will not lead the freedom moment of Kashmir to any logical end. They believe that the people of Kashmir should have a right to self-determination, which they believe that they need to find out a solution, which they're facing for past so many decades. They believe that they're not a part of Indian territory. They want that they should have their particular state. They should have independent Kashmir. That is what they believe. And Homa, let me be clear enough that people in Kashmir for the past so many years, despite so much of killings and so much of tragedy in the particular area, nothing has changed. Demand has not sidelined. Of course, maybe the better governance might have taken over, but the demand has never sidelined. And so far, if we talk of Indian government hasn't been that promising enough. Indian government hasn't been able to actually help the people of Kashmir, because all the magisterial probes that have been called since the past 2 decades over the killings and the issues like that, they haven't found any solution. Not even a single security personnel has ever been prosecuted by India. So this is a clear indication that there is a kind of a military rule. People believe that they've been occupied. They don't see any kind of a justice happening anywhere. And if they believe that if it's a just state, India is a just state, they want actually justice in the cases of those who have been killed, in the cases of those who have been disappeared. So right now people are totally angry in Kashmir, and they demand the probe into the matter, and they demand a timely probe. What usually happens in Kashmir, the probes are ordered and they pile up and the case is closed without giving any justification. So right now it's the mood of anger in Kashmir, and it's a kind of a shutdown, and some areas have been put under curfew so that the situation calms down. That is how Indian government does usually in Kashmir.
Thank you very much, Chana Bhatt, correspondent with us there live from New Delhi.